before the storm actually starts, start charging your electronics, your phones, tablets, even your electric vehicles. You don't want to be caught in an outage.
That warning tonight for people all across the West as a powerful winter storm gets ready to move in, dumping up to 12 feet of snow in some places. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. Meteorologists expect this could be California's biggest snowstorm of the season. The same system has already led to winter storm warnings being put in effect at higher elevations in Washington and Oregon. People in the Sierra are being warned that blizzard conditions will likely make mountain travel nearly impossible starting tomorrow. Now, here is a live look tonight at conditions in the Sierra. Interstate 80 does remain open to traffic north of Lake Tahoe, but conditions are expected to begin deteriorating overnight. We talked earlier with South Lake Tahoe Mayor Cody Bass, who says city crews there are ready to respond, and he stresses the importance of people staying off the roads during the height of this storm.
As we're, in an high altitude environment, we're pretty much prepared anytime for that. Anytime it snows over 3 inches, we deploy all of our snowplows throughout here in the city. But this is definitely a major winter storm that we're predicting. So, we, with our residents, are definitely advising everybody through the storm to stay home and not travel unless you absolutely have to. And so for our visitors, we want to say the same thing: is we absolutely welcome everybody to come to town, but my advice is come tomorrow, get here before the storm, stay through the storm. It's absolutely amazing to be up here in the snowfall. It's much better than trying to travel through it. It's going to pass, and then there's going to be good times to be had for all and a lot of shoveling and work for us all. So it comes with both. You get a little bit of play and a lot of work.
Yeah, there will be a whole lot of snow to shovel here once this system moves on. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking this winter storm. Mark, this is a very serious system. All right. We're gonna move on and hopefully reconnect with Mark. But in the meantime, we're gonna move on to other news here.
I still have enough gas in my tank to thoroughly disappoint my critics, and I intend to do so with all the enthusiasm with which they become accustomed.
That is Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell using a little humor today to announce that he is stepping down as his chamber's GOP leader in November. Tonight, one senator from here in the West is already being thrown in the mix of possible replacements for Senator McConnell. That would be Wyoming Senator John Barrasso, who is reportedly among the names being considered for that leadership position. He says he will be speaking with fellow senators and listening to what they have to say about what he calls the direction they want to take. Now, the other potential replacements include South Dakota Senator John Thune. He's the number 2 Republican in the Senate right now. Senate Minority Whip John Cornyn of Texas is another potential contender, as is Florida Senator Rick Scott, who has challenged McConnell for that job in the past. KTVU's political reporter Greg Lee reports whoever comes next will help to usher the Senate into a new era.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell will step down as GOP leader in November. The Kentucky Republican is the longest-serving leader in Senate history, a position he's held since 2007. He told his colleagues from the Senate floor.
I stand before you today, Mr. President, and my colleagues, to say this will be my last term as Republican leader of the Senate.
Part of McConnell's influential legacy, denying then-President Obama's effort to fill a vacant Supreme Court seat in 2016, then moving through 3 high court justices under former President Trump. McConnell's decision marks another shift for his party toward Mr. Trump.
Believe me, I know the politics within my party at this particular moment in time. I have many faults. Misunderstanding politics is not one of them.
McConnell has faced opposition from members of his own party and Trump for his defense of Ukraine aid and the bipartisan border security deal.
For a guy who sees America's role in the Reagan mold to bring democracy forward and serve as a model of activism, that's a real challenge for Mitch McConnell and his legacy.
McConnell has been at odds with Trump, blaming the former president for inciting the January 6th attack, then voting to acquit him during the impeachment trial.
Moving the Republican Party and the U.S. Supreme Court and the federal bench overall farther to the right, but not someone who could please Donald Trump in the process of doing so.
While many Republicans praise McConnell, the ultra-conservative House Freedom Caucus wrote, "No need to wait till November. Senate Republicans should immediately elect a Republican minority leader." President Biden said this.
I trusted him. We got a great relationship. We trust like hell, but he has never misrepresented me as far as doing stuff now.
The 82-year-old McConnell has suffered a number of health issues, including a serious fall last year, and appeared to freeze twice in front of reporters. He said he intends to serve out his Senate term, which ends in January 2027.
I'm no longer the young man sitting in the back, hoping colleagues would remember my name. It's time for the next generation of leadership.
In announcing his decision, Senator McConnell said the recent death of his sister-in-law led to some introspection. In the newsroom, Greg Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, we want to turn back now to our big story we're following tonight, that major winter storm that is heading toward the Sierra tonight. KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo is tracking it. Mark?
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, the conditions will change rapidly as we head into the Thursday forecast. So the rainfall, which has been focused, the rain and snow up in the Pacific Northwest will approach the Bay Area. And of course, the major developing headline will be out toward the Sierra with major Sierra snowfall and that blizzard warning in place that begins tomorrow morning. So this was the scene today. It was a beautiful day to be up on the slopes. Lots of blue sky, a few clouds out there in the distance, and just some great conditions. But things will change rapidly for tomorrow. So showing you this, the Sierra forecast, you can see the snowfall really piling up over the next several days. And the blizzard warning begins 4 a.m. Thursday until 10 a.m. on Sunday. Snowfall, these totals are very impressive if they verify 5 to 10. Possibly upwards of 12 feet for the highest peaks of the Sierra. So this will definitely impact travel over the passes over the next several days. Not only in the Sierra, they have the blizzard warning, but we also have winter storm warnings, as you can see, for portions of Oregon and up into Washington. So they have the significant snowfall up in the Pacific Northwest. You can see the main reason why. You see the moisture. This is an atmospheric river feeding up into Seattle and Portland. As we back the maps out, you can see this cold air that will spill into Northern California and a good portion of the West Coast over the next several days. In Seattle today, this was the scene. Lots of cloud cover, some rain showers. I did see rainfall amounting to 0.65 over the past 24 hours and a high today of 50 degrees. In San Francisco, it was a beautiful day, lots of sunshine, but of course tomorrow will be the transition day, a temperature of 66 degrees as we track that cold winter storm. And in Southern California, lots of sunshine for LAX, temperatures close to 70 degrees, with a high of 69 earlier this afternoon. So here's kind of the breakdown for your Thursday forecast. Rain and snow for Seattle with the temperatures in the 40s. You can see the cold air is kind of locked up here. Rain returns for San Francisco. Sunshine out toward Denver. It's still mild to warm in Southern California, also out toward Arizona. So here is the plan with the forecast model. As you can see, things develop and moving to the south into your Thursday forecast. Look at the snowfall piling up in the mountains. And then as we head toward Friday, we'll begin to bump up those rain chances. A slight chance by Friday afternoon for Southern California, but things could be increasing by Friday night and into Saturday. So here's the breakdown. We have the cold rain and the snow up towards Seattle. San Francisco, rainfall makes a comeback. For Los Angeles, they have, as you can see, some conditions with partly cloudy skies and temperatures mainly in the upper 50s to the 60s, and then the warm conditions will continue down in out toward Phoenix over the next several days. But Alex, tomorrow will be the transition day with that major cold storm moving in from the north.
All right, and we will continue to track it. Mark, thank you. Ahead of tomorrow's dueling border visits by President Biden and former President Trump, the Secretary of State is taking on immigration issues. Today, Secretary Antony Blinken met with his Mexican and Guatemalan counterparts in Washington, D.C. During their meeting, he stressed the importance of recognizing why the number of migrants seeking asylum here in this country is surging right now.
I think we're all well attuned to the importance of focusing on root causes. In effect, people should have a right to remain in their own countries, but that means that the conditions have to exist that really make it not only possible, but attractive for them to remain.
The U.S. has urged Latin American allies like Guatemala to put up barriers to try to slow migration. And tomorrow, former President Trump will visit the southern border near Eagle Pass, Texas. That's where Governor Greg Abbott has focused recent border enforcement efforts, while at the same time, President Biden will be spending time in Brownsville, where he plans to meet with Border Patrol agents as well as law enforcement officials. San Diego County supervisors have rejected calls to ask Congress and President Biden to shut down the border. That proposal was considered last night in response to Border Patrol agents releasing thousands of migrants at transit centers across San Diego in recent days. Instead, the supervisors approved plans to send a letter encouraging passage of the recent bipartisan border security bill. President Biden believes House Republicans have been tanking that bill because former President Trump has openly criticized it. In Tukwila, Washington, protesters called on local leaders there to provide asylum seekers with indoor shelter. As Fox 13's Frankie Thompson reports tonight, the city is funding a tent shelter at an existing migrant camp, but protesters say conditions there are deteriorating.
Dozens of people marched the streets of downtown Seattle supporting the asylum seekers who are camping at the Riverton Park United Methodist Church in Tukwila. The advocates rallied at Seattle City Hall, calling on more government and nonprofit resources for temporary indoor shelter. The city of Tukwila announced funding for a temporary tent, more than 3,000 square feet in size. Officials say the large tent is water resistant, can be heated, and hold up to 100 people.
It's still a temporary measure. The permit's good for 180 days, and so this is really us trying to help this group of people that are in a really difficult point in their lives, but it's not a permanent solution.
An influx of families and individuals have been migrating almost daily to the church in Tukwila since early 2023. In the early stages, the church offered shelter for asylum seekers indoors. The number of migrants quickly outgrew the available space inside. For months, people have been camping outside in tents, waiting for their immigration paperwork to process. At one point, the encampment saw more than 400 people on site. The city, county, and church have paid for some temporary hotels, but the city says money is running low. Officials say there is only so much they can do as a small city.
Wonderful. We've sunk quite a bit into trying to assist in this problem so far. We still are looking for that regional coordinated solution that's really scaled to the size of the problem, which is, of course, beyond Tukwila's borders.
The King County executive announced a $1 million grant opportunity to increase shelter and resources for asylum seekers. Funding is open to nonprofits in King County that can aid in temporary housing, food, support, and legal services. This money is part of the county's $5 million investment to assist in homelessness response efforts in South King County.
I would have never put Kylie in harm's way.
An emotional day in court for the mother of a cancer patient. Coming up tonight on West Coast Wrap, why she's being sent to jail for choosing to treat her daughter with CBD oil. Also, it's an education some Southern California high school students never expected. We'll show you how they're learning lessons from a food truck operation.
From the very beginning, try to be very candid and upfront that this isn't a do-it-at-any-cost process, that our first objective is to carry this out with dignity, professionalism, and respect.
The execution of one of the country's longest-serving death row inmates was canceled today after 8 attempts to carry out a lethal injection failed. The medical team could not find a vein to insert the IV. 73-year-old Thomas Creech had been convicted of 5 murders in 3 states, and he was serving life in prison when he killed a fellow inmate in 1981, the crime for which he was to be executed. The Idaho Department of Corrections says it is now considering what its next steps will be. The man accused of killing 4 college students in Idaho was back in court today. Brian Koberger is accused of the deadly stabbings of 4 students from the University of Idaho in November of 2022. A judge heard arguments about setting a date for the trial and the defense's request to move that trial out of Moscow, Idaho. The prosecution says a change of venue is not necessary because this case has drawn nationwide publicity.
See more about it in Boise, or hear about it from other parts of the state than what we're seeing locally. And so the massive publicity, that's a red herring, realistically. There's publicity everywhere about this.
The judge did not make a decision today. If he's convicted, Koberger could face the death penalty. An Oregon mother must serve 90 days in jail for choosing to treat her daughter's cancer with CBD oil instead of traditional medicine. Fox 12's Paulina Aguilar spoke with the child's relatives after an emotional day in court.
At the start of the proceedings, Christina Dixon stood in court composed and calm, and as it went on, she became emotional. The district attorney did ask the judge to sentence her to 19 months in jail. However, she received 90 days in jail in supervised probation.
The reason that Kylie's alive today is because she got the chemotherapy, because she got surgery, because the tumor was removed.
3 months in jail and supervised probation for custodial interference and criminal mistreatment of her now 17-year-old daughter, Kylie.
Sentence you to 90 days in custody. I am going to find that a probationary sentence would be appropriate in this circumstance.
That's what 39-year-old Christina Dixon received in Clackamas County Court Monday morning. In 2019, then 13-year-old Kylie was being treated for liver cancer. Later that year, Dixon was indicted for failing to take Kylie in for a scheduled surgery.
After the third round of chemotherapy, she said no. She said no, despite 23 physicians at St. Jude agreeing with that diagnosis. She said no.
Doctors say they wanted to continue chemotherapy.
She pulled her daughter out of cancer treatment.
Dixon took Kylie to Las Vegas to avoid a court order and claimed Kylie did better using CBD oil. Kylie was taken into protective custody and Christina went to jail. Nearly 5 years later in court, Dixon is emotional as she waited sentencing.
I never wanted to stop her treatment. It was just with this particular doctor. I would have never put Kylie in harm's way. I did everything to fight for her life. And I put my own life on the line for her.
Kylie's father also in the courtroom. He says he doesn't believe justice was served.
I'm glad there's closure finally. I was a little saddened to see that how easy she got off on all this considering all the damage she's done.
A judge later ordered that Kylie would have surgery to treat her cancer.
The truth is that Kylie had a tumor, that CBD wasn't doing a thing to help it, that the only thing that was helping was the treatment that she was getting. And she had the surgery, and she's cancer-free now because of it. We love you, Kylie, and we wish you the best.
Kylie is now cancer-free and will turn 18 years old later this year. Her dad says that she is doing well, but when we asked about her whereabouts, he said he didn't know. Reporting in Oregon City, Paulina Aguilar, Fox 12 Oregon.
One person was hurt after a tourist helicopter crashed in Hawaii. This happened yesterday, just after 1:30 in the afternoon local time on Hanapu Beach, which is located in a remote area of Kauai. That helicopter was carrying one pilot and 4 passengers at the time it went down. The injured passenger suffered a back injury, and authorities say there were no other injuries reported with the crash. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, it's a crash course in business for some Southern California high school students. Tonight, see how they're turning a food truck into a money-making operation. Also, we'll show you what a $143 million cocaine bust looks like after an operation that happened in the Pacific. Despite new fences going up, vandals are still finding ways to climb up an abandoned complex of high-rise buildings in downtown Los Angeles. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf shows us how police made new arrests earlier today.
Los Angeles police Wednesday outside the now infamous graffiti towers downtown, waiting for a group of taggers to finally come out. As many as 8 young people Tuesday night broke into the abandoned building. So far, 2 have been arrested.
We have about 18 officers around it, and hoping that if they come out, we can arrest the people inside.
That's insane.
For almost a month, the graffiti towers have drawn in people from around the world. Some using the space as an empty canvas to spray paint. Others jumping and paragliding for social media clicks.
All day.
LA police already here more than 3,000 combined hours working overtime for 24/7 security.
There's people going up there standing on unfinished ledges to get a photo, social media stunt or photo. And we just can't allow that to happen. Somebody's going to get hurt in here.
When ocean-wide developers are over in Beijing, China, we have our hard-earned tax dollars protecting this failed development.
Construction on a $1.1 million taxpayer-funded fence continues around the property, abandoned almost 5 years ago by Oceanwide Holdings, a Chinese development firm. Can you hold them responsible?
We are going to hold them responsible. Hence, we're sending them the bill and if they don't cooperate, we'll put a lien on it.
LA City Council recently approving $3.8 million to clean up the graffiti and fence it off.
Bro, we got a wall of Mexico. You think that wall's gonna do something? Come on. If people want to do something, they're gonna do it. Right now, we're just wasting our money doing this when we have tons of other issues here that we should be addressing.
And that was Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf reporting tonight from Los Angeles. Earlier this month, police made more than a dozen arrests at that building site. Multiple spray paint cans and illegal weapons were recovered during those arrests. The U.S. Coast Guard recovered 11,000 pounds of cocaine in the Pacific Ocean this week, valued around $143 million. Crews say one of their helicopters spotted a suspicious vessel. A pursuit crew then took control of that vessel as another crew worked throughout the night to haul in those bales of drugs that were tossed overboard. Finally tonight, high school students in San Diego are taking their lessons mobile. Fox's Misha DeBono shows us the lessons they're learning from a food truck.
This is an incredible opportunity. Intuit is not only donating this fully functional commercial-grade food truck, but also giving the students the tools to become entrepreneurs and learn how to run a business. The students take it from there and have done everything else.
2, 1, reveal the truck!
San Diego Unified School District unveils its first student-designed and operated food truck.
We're actually empowering kids to build their own business and then also learn skills along the way that they can use here in school, but also in their years beyond high school.
The program is in partnership with the company Intuit, the maker of TurboTax and QuickBooks and other small business tools. They donated the food truck equipped with a fully operational commercial-grade kitchen, allowing college, career, and technical education students to develop technical, financial, and entrepreneurial skills needed to run a business.
We have 5 culinary programs across the district, so we wanted to make sure there was a way that all of them could be involved. So they all worked on thinking about and going through, what could be the name of the truck, what would they want to sell, and how could we all share it and use it across the district.
This senior, Christine Wen, came up with the name Sunset Bites after spending time at the beach with her family.
I was able to create the name for the food truck, which is Sunset Bites. And to get to the name, I was thinking about what reminded me of San Diego. And I remind of my experiences with my family being able to bring food to the beach.
And Patrick Henry 12th grader Maya Diaz helped with graphic design.
We started off with just a blank canvas, like a blank white food truck, and we just had to work around it with the name. Like all we had was the name and stuff, and so we just kind of put everything together and it worked out really well.
San Diego Unified is now one of 6 Intuit prosperity hubs across several states. That's where they make good on their commitment to invest in communities and power prosperity. And next steps, they'll have to come up with a menu and how the different schools will share the food truck. All money raised will go back into the program, which is college careers and technical studies. From Linda Vista, Misha DeBono, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, valuable lessons for those high schoolers. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. Have a great rest of your night. And before we go, a reminder, you can follow all the stories that we are covering at westcoastwrap.com. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Have a good one.